Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. here. Today we are going to talk about some news that came out last week, middle of last week, in regards to the Ford Ranger Super Duty. All right. Before we get started, it is free to subscribe to the channel, guys. It just gives you guys all the access to the channel, lets you guys know when I'm posting new content and everything. But it does help me out, and it's free. So please make sure you look down there in the corner or down below in the description and hit the subscribe button for me. Always appreciated. At the end of the video, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up and notification bell so you get notified when I post new content, that's also pretty great. So again, Ford did announce that they will be producing a Ford Ranger Super Duty. And you're probably wondering, okay, where does this fall in? Why does it fall in? And how do I get one? Well, first things first, there's very limited information out there, but Ford did say by 2026, and we all know that there's sometimes later than that, sometimes earlier than that, but at the end of the day, it's going to be probably 2026. So the Ford Ranger, really when it disappeared from the United States in, say, I think it was like 2011, they stopped making it, and then they brought it back in 2019. In 2019, that version of the Ford Ranger looked just like the model that they still produced in other countries, okay? So down in Mexico, they still had a version of it. When we would go down there on vacation, we would see, I'm like, that looks like a Ford Ranger. Very similar to that. They made the Chevy, I don't remember what they called that one down there, but it kind of looked like a El Camino looking thing. That was still down there. And then they had the Dodge Rampage, which looked like a more round version of a Dodge Dakota. Now, talk about the Dodge Dakota coming back has been in scuttlebutt for years, but again, I don't think it'd be a high seller here, and I don't think it's coming back, but it is offered in other countries. Well, this is going to be the same for the Ford Super Duty Ford Ranger, all right? Not to be confused with the big guy we have here in the U.S., and why does it even bother with it? Well, this is going to be a truck that is going to be set for markets in, say, Thailand, China, Australia, and everything like that, because in those countries, they don't necessarily have all the room for the maneuverability of a F-150 or a larger Super Duty, nor are they doing the same things. They're not towing necessarily monstrous fifth wheels and everything like that. So although they might have F-150s in those countries, which a lot of them don't, I don't see a lot of new F-150s when we go to Mexico or anything like that. The real reason is because they need the payload capability and sometimes the towing capability. And this new Ford Ranger Super Duty is going to allegedly tow up to 10,000 pounds, which most half tons now are reaching 12,000, 13,000 properly equipped. And you might be thinking, well, then why would they even make the standard Ranger? Well, again, when Ford brought the Maverick out, I was very skeptical because I was like, that truck box is tiny. What the heck would people use it for? But to be honest with you, it did fit a good niche, and the price point was right over the Ford Ranger that's currently out, which is almost as much as a half ton if you get a more equipped Ranger. And so when they brought the Ranger back to compete with the Colorado Canyon, the Tacoma, all of those versions here, it was a good move. And the Maverick fits a lot of people's needs, meaning they need a pickup box to haul a lawnmower there, or go to Home Depot once in a while or whatever. They're not going to haul a heavy load. They're not going to put a lot of stuff in that truck or pickup or whatever. But it was kind of hard for me to take it serious when I finally saw the Ford Maverick Tremor version. I thought it was kind of silly. Because it's basically on a crossover body. It's not a frame-on body type vehicle like most standard trucks. But the Ford Super Duty Ranger is going to be a good option because in those countries they have the Hilux, they have some Mercedes-Benz compact pickups that can haul stuff. And really, if you guys know history, and some of you people are probably a little bit younger than me, so you may not have known this, but back in the 80s, Toyota had a compact pickup 1-ton dually. 1-ton dually in the respects that its cargo payload could be up to 1 ton. It wasn't really a big towing machine. It only towed like 5,000 pounds. But it's very popular. People had box trucks on it. They had dually beds, and it was kind of wonky to see because it was just 2-wheel drive. But it had a 6-lug hub and everything like that. And so this isn't new. The demand is definitely needed in these other countries because, again, their infrastructure is smaller. Their roads are smaller. Some residential streets here in just Denver are wider than some of their highways in other countries. So really having a truck that, one, is smaller but can handle the payload and or towing abilities for that, but allows them to maneuver it, that's big. I don't think it's going to happen here because a lot of people in the U.S. use their crew cab F-150s as family haulers on top of towing, on top of hauling gear. And so to bring over a Super Duty Ranger, I think it would just not make a ton of sense because The Ford Ranger here tows 5, 6, 7,000 pounds. The Colorado tows 7,000 pounds. And then people that are in a Ranger usually don't need the person capability inside. They're smaller trucks. They only hold like barely 5 people, and the back row is pretty small. And so as long as you are short or, you know, whatever, then that might work. But then everybody steps to a full-size pickup. But in other countries, if you go visit these countries, you'll see really quickly that they really don't haul people as much as that. But what they're asking of those smaller pickups is a lot. So I think the Ford Super Duty Ranger will be a neat addition. Again, 2026. Ford's basically said it's not going to come to America, which would not surprise me at all. Of course, anybody, if you have enough money, could probably buy one of these overseas and have it shipped, but I'm not sure the draw to that. And it also might have right-hand drive, depending on what country it's released in first or wherever you get it from. And price point, we don't know either. Again, I can only imagine up trim Rangers here push $45,000, $50,000, and that's comparable to a decently equipped F-150. And so I would assume that even if it did come to America, it'd be up there in the F-150 range. And I don't understand where the draw would be, as pickup buyers here would want, because there's no compelling argument here because we have plenty of maneuverability in most areas. But you know, at the end of the day, they said that this little Ranger is going to have like an 8-lug hub, up to 10,000 pounds of towing. And I think they even had a payload spec in here that was right around 22 to 2,800 pounds of payload, which that is something for one of those little trucks. But then when you, like I said, you go to another country and you see how much they really put on these trucks. But Nissan has a version of a heavier duty compact truck. Everybody has their version of one of those over there. But I just know a lot of people have asked me already if I heard about it, if and when they think they're going to be able to get that here. I don't see it here, and I don't see necessarily the value in it. You can get an F-150 Tremor probably for about the same price that would be, and you're going to get more payload, more capability. So not a huge draw there. And but it is interesting to look. The faux photos that are out there, spy photos, look very similar to what you already see on the current generation Ranger here, minus the fact that most of those are going to have some type of flatbed, utility bed, box bed, or something like that on it, stake bed. And so whether or not it'll have a standard pickup bed, it is hard to tell. But just to kind of quash those rumors, that's why I want to make this video today talking about the Ford Ranger Super Duty, its availability, when it's coming, what the information we have so far about it. We don't have any information on how it's being powered yet, but as this comes out, we will update some more videos on it for those that are interested in it, especially for my viewers that are in other countries. I do appreciate you guys being here, and we're going to catch you on the next one.